Vowel tag. The vowel tags the consonant, breaking the word into syllables, such as basket.
Good.
Oh, hi. Concept 9, open, close, silent E. We teach the syllables of like ho to hot or hope, and we teach how to vowel tag words. We also teach the back side of the board and other concepts. It is the concept for start 3 and 4.
Concept 11, the R family. The R family all say the sound except for the 2 teenagers who have their own sound.
R.
Concept 8, vowel tag. The vowel tags the consonant, breaking the word into syllables.
Concept 8, vowel tag. So far we've learned one-tap words such as how to read words like champ, hit, etc. I'm going to show you a very simple technique to break bigger words into syllables. It's called the vowel tag. Pretend we're in a race or playing a game. This vowel is going to reach out and tag this consonant. So when we swing, this is going to break this up. It's going to tag it back and it's going to make a separate syllable. The vowel actually reaches out and tags this. What does that say?
Mag.
And what's that say?
Net.
Let's put that together. What is that?
Mag.
This is a quick way to think about breaking down words. Okay? Let's try another one of those. Okay. What is the A going to tag? S. So when you're swinging under with your pen or pencil, you're able to tag the S and you're going to swing right here. That breaks this up to what? Basket. And what's that?
Cat.
What's the word?
Basket.
Basket. Notice it nicely broke it up into 2 syllables. Let's try another one. The A is going to tag the what?
B.
B. That makes this into what? Cab. In. What's the word?
Cabin.
Cabin. So this very simple technique, vowel tag, allows you when you read, you look for the vowel and you then, as you're swinging, you look for the vowel and the vowel is going to tag the consonant afterwards. It helps you quickly break down big words called the vowel tag. Let's go to our book and we are going to vowel tag in the book. Discussion. Now, one of the important things about the FAST program is we practice the technique always in the student's next reading book. So, when I'm practicing the vowel tag, I'm in the preceding book. I'm only doing 1-syllable words. And about halfway through that book, I'm going to be introducing the vowel tag, and I'm going to practice vowel tagging words in the next book. So I'm prepared for that book when I'm finished with my present book. We're always in the midst of preparing for the next book. So we don't do workbooks per se for the most part. We're working in the next reading book. Let me give an example of how a student would go to his words in practice. We're always preparing for the next book. So while we're in the fog, when we're halfway through the fog, that means when we hit the staple, that tells us to prepare for the next book, which happens to be Ghost Ship. So for new concept, we're going to teach the concept needed for Ghost Ship, which actually is the vowel tag. So we taught the vowel tag under new concept, and then we practiced the words in it. The student then practices the words in the next book, which happens to be Ghost Ship.
Baskets. Travel. River. Comments. Cabin. Problem.
Notice how the card swings into the syllable and vowel tags. Now, that would be done the first day under new concept. Now, the next day you would review the new concept, and you'd go to the next chapter and work on words in the next chapter.
7. Suddenly. Figure. Canon.
The next day under new concept, you'd review vowel tag, and you'd go to the next group of words in chapter 3.
Attacks. Attacks. Mystery. Mystery. Expected. Immense.
Now, probably by the third day, you're through with the fog, which you had just completed. So now you're starting the ghost ship from chapter 1. Now you've already worked on the new words, so you can do the words very quickly. Remember, you use the 4-step method only for the words the child struggles with. Then you do the 4-step method with those words. When you're finished with the ghost ship, you'll now enter this book from the beginning. This works with all the series. When you're in Sunlight Tales, when you're halfway through the sock hop, you'll be preparing for your next book, which is Raft Trip. That means you need to teach Concept 8 or vowel tagging, and you will teach that under new concept and vowel tag. And again, new concept should be a 6-7 minutes max. Quick review of the concept and work on the words. Concept 8, scissors tag. With my son, I found the vowel tag and vowel tagging with a card or a pencil did not get across the concept of breaking words into syllables. So for him, I developed what's the concept of scissors tag when he was in first grade. How that works is this. The vowel tags the consonant, just like here's our syllable, here's where we start. The vowel tags the consonant, and we cut. And it makes 2 syllables. I have basket. Next, the vowel tags the B, we cut, and that makes 2 nice syllables. Cabin. The vowel tags the consonant, we cut. Velvet. The vowel tags the consonant, and we cut. Magnet. Then I'd have him read that. Then I'd kick into the 4-step method, which you can use for kids who the vocabulary are challenging. I don't use this method if the words are easy for the student. But if he doesn't know some of the words, I'll go to step 2 and I'll say basket, and the child will go basket. Cabin, the child will read cabin. Magnet, he'll go magnet. Velvet, velvet. Cabin, cabin. So I'll say the word, then he'll read it. Then I'll give a definition. Point to something the Easter Bunny carries. Basket. Point to a type of material. Velvet. Point to something that has kind of a charge to it and draws metal. Magnet. Point to something that you might sleep in the country. Cabin. Okay? What's this word? Basket, velvet, cabin, magnet. So I use the 4-step method, which is read the words, I said the word, he read them, I gave a definition, he read it, and then he randomly read the words. Okay? Then what I'll do is I'll fool around with this, and he's got to make words. Magnet, velvet, cabin, thank you, basket. Then I'll do this. And he's got to make words. Okay? Now I think you can see a lot's going on here. We'll get them organized, but he's got to go magnet. And he's got to go velvet. And then he's got to go basket. And then cabin. Then I put these in an envelope. And the next day I'll dump them out, and he has to make words. And then I give him his new words that we scissors cut. We do this process, and then those go in the bag. So we had cumulative sets of words that correlated with his book. This is a great technique for first graders, second graders, or anyone struggling to get across breaking the word in the syllables. I call it the scissors tag. The words that I'm using from this are the words from their next book. Exactly like, remember, when you're halfway through the book, you're preparing for your next. So what I looked is the next book, the first set of words included these 4. So I pulled those words we scissors tagged. Then I'd pull more words from the next book. What I'm doing is I'm always preparing for their next book. Oh, hi. Concept 9, open, close, silent E. Concept 9, open, close, silent E, and vowel changing. This is rat. This is a closed syllable. We've learned in this case that the vowel runs a short way, has a short sound. Okay? We've also talked about without the consonant, the vowel can run a long way. It's pretty proud. People know his name, and they say his name. He's opened up, can run a long way, and his name is A, and it's Ray is the open syllable. Okay? Everyone's proud of him because he can run a long way. Everyone learns his name. Okay? Here he's closed in. He has his short sound. There's another one, silent E, that opens up the syllable, has kind of a magnetic effect on the vowel, allows it to run a longer way. It then says its name. Okay? Again, people are proud of him. He's proud of him. They learned his name, which is A, like rate. Okay? Let us review this. We have, this is an open syllable, rate. What would this be?
Rat.
Rat. What would that be?
Ray.
Ray. Okay. Here, can this run a long way?
Yes.
Yeah, it does. Says its name. People know him. They're proud of the work he's done. Open syllables, he says his name. Now, can he say his name? No, he's closed in. So he has his short sound. He can only run a short way, can't he? Now, with the silent E, a little magnetic effect allows us to run a longer way. Again, it says its name. People are proud of the fact that he's running, working out. So the running the long way, we have this, the saying of the name. People know his name. Okay, let's look at this. What would this say?
Row.
Row. Runs a long way, says its name. What's this? Closed in. What would that be?
Row.
Row. I then dictate words to the kids, which you have there to have them practice the concept. I'd go ray and make it rat, rate, right, writ, fit, fi, fight. We practice that. You have words at the bottom of the notebook. Then we'd be reading syllables like I did here to get this across. Once they have the concept of open, close, silent E, I then introduce the very important concept of changing. Okay? And changing is revisiting the vowel tag. Here the vowel tag's the P, right? That makes oppen, right? Have you ever heard of oppen? Let's change the tag now to the O and just tag the vowel. Now what is it? Open. Is that a word? Mm-hmm. Sure it is. Okay? So that was the word. That's called vowel changing. Let's look at another one. Let's tag the N. What would this be?
On.
On it. Have you ever heard of on it?
No.
Let's change it. Now what is it?
Unit.
Have you heard of unit? Mm-hmm. Sure you have. Okay. Let's vowel tag this. A tags the G. What would that be? Ago. What would this be? Ago.
Ego.
So we tried ago. That's not a word. Ago. Then we tried ago. That doesn't work. Try the sound. When in doubt, give it the Makes it ago. Okay. So the general principle for changing is this. Try the short first, ago. Change it to ago, then ago. Concept 9b. After 9a, we've introduced open, close, silent E and vowel changing. In 9b, we now show what are the best spellings for the long vowels based on what we know. We know that in an open syllable, the vowel says its name, like in fi. It can run a long way. Kind of proud of its performance. People know its name, fi. We also know that if there's a consonant after it, like here, but the vowel's long, let's say the word's fine, what do we have to add? An E, don't we? Let me show you that again. Let's say we're dealing with this. This is an open syllable like fable. A is your best bet in an open. But if it was, the word was feign, we'd have to add an E to make that A long. So if the vowel's long and there's a consonant after it, we have to add an E to make it long. Okay? So we have these spellings now for long vowels. When you hear an open syllable, like the word iris or the word minor, just use an I. Minus. If there's a consonant after it, use an I consonant E. Okay? And again, that would be like the word fine. In fine, you have this I consonant, but you have to add an E or it's fin, don't you? So we show that this way. We show that by an open syllable, like in the word final, phi, we show just an I. But when there's a consonant after it, we show it this way, I consonant E. In other words, there's two ways to spell I at this point. Just an I, or with a silent E, isn't there? Some people call it a magic E, don't they? E is the same way. In an open syllable, like the word relate, just an E. But if there's a consonant after it, it's an E, consonant E. Okay? Same with A. What do you use in an open syllable for an A? Just a what? An A. If there's a consonant sound after it, like in this word, 8, what do I have to add here? E. Otherwise it's at. So for A, it's A consonant E. Same with U. Open U, U consonant E. And O is the same, O consonant E. So tomorrow, class, when I say I, you're going to show me the two spellings of I by doing this. I consonant E. A consonant E. U consonant E. O consonant E. E consonant E. Okay? Now we have one problem here, and that's this double E. Okay? Let's spell team. This is 10. If we want to spell team, we have to put an E here, don't we? But you know what? Some reason in one syllable words, one tap words, this silent E, this E, doesn't want to split. It actually wants to leap over and stay right next to its partner. So silent E's in one syllable words don't split. It's still a silent E. So your best bet in a one syllable word is a double E. It's the silent E that doesn't split. And you know, so rather than use this, we may be better off for silent E tomorrow just pointing to this. This is the silent E that doesn't split. And you know what? This is so close in terms of frequency. This is about 51% of the one syllable words with E or this, and this is pretty close to 49%. So this we call the rest in one tap words. So in a one tap word, we use a double E or EA. Let me put that right here, right now. Okay? Okay. So, when I say I tomorrow, everybody, what are you going to say? I consonant. E, what are you going to say? E consonant E. What if I said E, one tap word? E, EA is the rest. Okay? 9C. We have these very simple prefixes out here on the edge of the board. These are prefixes that you see a lot early on in the first couple of years of students' text. And we just want students to be familiar. Okay? The reason is, these are the ones that often cause vowel changing. Okay? In other words, when you run into the word R-E-P-A-Y, the child may want to go repay, and then he realizes it's the prefix, again, repay. So we make them familiar so that they're aware. They may see these and go, oh, that's a word I have to vowel change. Okay? This is pretty easy. What does re mean? Like you redo something? To do it over again. To do it again. To redo it. D means down. Like depressed, descend, decline. Pre means before, preschool. Okay? Prevent is to kind of take care of something before. Pro means you're kind of for something. It's a very active pro. Or like pro Broncos, you're for a team. So these prefixes are ones that are used pretty frequently. Once I've taught these prefixes, I will often in tracking add these as part of the syllable tracking. And I'll also add suffixes as part of the tracking. So, you know, each lesson I have a tracking sequence for you. Example, one of the tracking sequences may be this, fit to fent, to fent, to fest, to fesp. You remember that? Well, you can leave that tracking this way. You can get to fesp and say past tense of fesp, and they would add ed, fested. Without a fest, and they would go festless. Before you're without a fest, they would go pre-festless. So you can start working with prefixes and endings as part of your tracking. Okay? Now another part of this is we revisit the bully rule. Remember at Concept 5 we introduced the bully rule, that bullies make the vowel in front of it say its name. Well, we have a problem with the word hope. Would this be hoping if I added this bully suffix? No. This ing makes that e say what? E. So that would be hope-ing. What's another way to deal with a bully besides a bodyguard or defender? Walk away. Remember that? Now, this bully becomes actually helpful and helps teach this O to say its name. So we learn how to defer a problem, and this individual now becomes helpful. So that's the second way to deal with problems, is walk away. Now, if we had hopeful, do we have to walk away here? No. Absolutely not. Because we have the, it's not a bully, it's a consonant suffix. But when there's a vowel suffix, yesterday he hoped, I gotta walk away or it's hope-ed. Okay, so we revisit this at 9 is the walk away rule. That's called bully rule B. Concept 9D, the back side of the board. Now, in your notebook at 9D, it kind of tells you the order in which to introduce the endings. Okay? These prefixes and roots, the students can read at this point. So I might quickly have the students read the prefixes and roots, the first group, but these endings they can't read because they don't sound like they look. So these have to be taught. So I will first check to find out what the student knows. And if he knows the first group, I immediately add the second group. But I found a lot of the kids I get don't know these. Let's go ahead and read these with me. Tull, dull, ibble, ubble, Asian, shun, sieve, jure. Again with me. Tull, dull, ibble, ubble, Asian, sieve, jure. Now once I've taught them to the kids, I'll say them and they'll echo 1 point. So I'll go dull and the kid will go dull. Ubble, ubble. Asian, Asian. Jure, jure. Sieve, sieve. And then I'll point, the child will read. Ubble, ibble, tull, jure, sieve. Okay, once I have these down, I then will go into the first groups. And I'll say, Steve, pull out demistal. Demistal. Good. Demissable. Now, it's the same step tracking as the front. Demissable. Dull to ibble. Demissable. Premissable. Premissable. D to pre. Premissable. Premissation. Premissation. Ibble to Asian. Prejectmissation. 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 Projectmissation. Projectmissation. Pre to pro. Projectmissation. That's called spelling the syllables, and then I'll move to reading. Everybody, what would this be?
Projectation.
Good. Going to challenge this group a bit. What would that be?
Projectation. Projectverization.
This is where I change a kid's self-concept. Many of the kids that I've worked with, this is done at Concept 9. Concept 9 is the big, it's Start 3, it's the big transition piece. It's for the kid who's got a lot of pieces, we pull it together. Often when I work with kids, they've only worked with 1 or 2 syllable words, and what I'm doing with the back side of the board is breaking that whole concept. You can now do multi-syllables. It's a more enormous concept, okay? I don't get into the definitions of these until Concept 24, or until the kids are at least 4th or 5th grade. So concept 9 is really the starting place for start 3. And there's two levels of start 3 that we talked about. You can either be at start 3 tagging, and in tagging, you're basically just working words like this. A tags the G, magnet. Notice that we're still dealing with closed syllables. So a child that was at start 3 tagging, I would basically teach them the tag, this is concept 8, and then I would go into the concept 8 book. So if the child's in Moonlight Tales, that's Ghost Ship. Sunlight Tales, it's Raftra. That's the tagging stage. But we have many kids who are ready for start 3, the changing stage, and that's where we have a child who can do this. Okay? Now, if we tag this, what would that word be? Unit. That's not a word, so we teach them to change to unit. Okay? That would be start 3, the changing stage. Now again, that's one of the things my testing takes care of, is to determine if this child should just stay at tagging, concept 8, or if we can go ahead and do 9A and teach how to change. Okay? So, concept 9 is a huge concept, because it's one that really makes, it's the start and the concept that really starts making a reader out of children. Now, start 4 uses this chart pretty exclusively. It's the whole program put on a sheet of paper, the reading components and the spelling components. Okay? The reading components start bottom up, 1 to 6, and it's pretty much a fast track through the program. Open, close, silent E, and changing, our family, diphthongs, what I call green sounds, which are walkers, yellows and reds. It's pretty much the whole program. And then this spelling program is on the back, going downwards. Okay? Now, when you are in start 4, you actually started just like you would do at a 3 changing. You basically will teach the kid open, close, silent E, and how to vowel change. And you work with this first level. Concept 10, long E. Concept 10, long E. Everyone, let's read these words with me. What would this be? Even. Next. Repeat. Athlete. What sound are we hearing in all these words? What vowel sound?
E.
We're all hearing an E sound. And what makes spelling of long vowels so difficult is that there's different spelling patterns for long E. If there was just one, that would make it easy. But there's different ones. For instance, how's E spelled in even? With just a E. How's it spelled in read?
E.
In here it's spelled with a EA. In athlete, it's spelled with an E, consonant E. So spelling's difficult because there's a lot of different patterns. Fortunately, a gentleman named Hannah in the early 60s did a computerized count of the 15,000 most frequent words. And from that, we know what is the frequency of these spellings. And let me introduce those to you now. Go ahead and let's read the rest of these words with me. I've now moved from step 1 to step 2. Are you ready with me? Begin. Complete. Complete. With me. Sandy. Retreat. Compete. Pretty. Candy. Relax. Defeat. Okay. What's some of the spellings we see for E? Who has one spelling? George, what do you say?
E.
We have just an E. Cool. What is another spelling? No?
EA.
EA is another one. What is another spelling? Yes?
Y.
Y. And what is another spelling?
E consonant E.
E consonant E. That's the end of step 2. Notice I've purposely set them up in this pattern, and I put what I call the rest below. The child doesn't know this, but as they gave it to me, I lay them out in this pattern. Open, silent E, and end. Now let's go to your notebook, your dictionary section of your notebook, and we are going to spell these into the notebook. Step 3, we go to the student's tutoring notebook if they have the tutoring kit, and the child would go to section 2, which is the dictionary. And the dictionary has places to put best and rest, as you can see. Now, the teacher manual has the dictionary within it that teachers can Xerox and put in student's notebook. In which case, the child would go to the dictionary and then go to the long E section. And there, they would copy the words into their notebook. So now the student in their notebook will copy the word using syllable spelling. Rosemary will demonstrate.
Even, even. Repeat, repeat. Could also go here. Repeat. Athlete, athlete. Began, began. Complete, complete. Sandy, sand, E.
Now for the student to do this, they have to be able to write. Those students that cannot write will actually be given cards to put into piles, as demonstrated at the end of this section. Okay, step 4 of the 5-step method for long vowels. So the student has now copied this in the notebook. Okay? At this point, now, as pointed out, compete is a silent E, retreat. The EAs I put under EAs for the time being. But I would have no problem of the student wanting to put it under open syllable. We could do that as well. But during this copying exercise, this is where I have them go under the EA spellings. Okay. Step 4. I now actually teach where these spellings occur. I want you to look at the E spelling, and let's look at the words like even. Okay? Began. Relax. What kind of syllable is B? Open or closed? Open. How about even? Open. Relax. Open. So if it's an open syllable, we just use the E. That's your best bet. So if you're not sure how to spell the word relax or relate, the re, this computerized count found that E is your best bet. Don't try an EI. Don't try an EA. Just use an E. Now let's look about this silent E. In the word athlete, what kind of sound do we have after the long vowel in leet? Is it a vowel sound or consonant sound in leet? Consonant. When you have a consonant sound right after an E, like complete or compete, if you have a consonant sound, this is your best bet. Now it's logical, because if I don't add an E, what do I have?
Let.
If I don't add an E here, it's not complete, it's complete. So if I have a consonant sound, I have to add an E, don't I? Okay. And then end is pretty easy. We have this end here, we have end here. So the Y is typically where in the word? The end. Now, just as monkeys have tails, some monkeys have upward tails. Some monkeys have downward tails. Just as monkeys have tails, letters have tails too. Y has a downward tail. And so tails, just like monkeys have tails on their rear end, letters have tails, and Y's, these tails are usually at the end of the word. And for the long vowels, all the ending long vowels have tails on them. It's a very important concept. So that's going to help you remember that at the end, when it's a long vowel, it's going to have a tail. Okay. So, here's what you have found out. You found that when you have an open syllable, you're going to use an E, like even, like read and repeat. If there's a consonant sound, like in compete, you have to add an E. Now, that would, on our board, how that would appear is if I said E, you would on the board point to E and then an E consonant E to show those two different patterns. Okay? If it's the end, it's got to have a what on it? What do we call that thing?
Tail.
And then we have the rest, EA. Now, EA is not your best bet, but it's very close between that and E consonant E. So that is your rest for EA. Okay. Step 5 in the 5-step method is teaching the spellings on the board. Okay, let's review this. In an open syllable, we use E. If there's a consonant sound after it, we add an E, so that's E consonant E, and the end has a tail, Y, and the rest is EE and EA. In a one-tap word or one-syllable word in all positions, EE is your best bet, EA is the rest. Let's review that. Ready? E.
E, consonant E, and Y are the best. EE and EA are the rest.
One-tap word for E.
EE is the best and EA is the rest.
Good. For students who are in first grade or those who have difficulty writing, at step 3, rather than have them copy it in a notebook, we give them the words on cards. Okay, George? So we're going to go ahead, using the categories that were on the board, okay? Go ahead and sort those words, reading them as you sort them.
Even. Repeat.
Okay. Good.
Athlete.
Good.
Began.
Good. Now, if you'll look up at the board, repeat can be in either the open syllable or it can be in our EA pile, okay? So that's a good EA pile. Good for you. Go ahead. Keep sorting.
Complete.
Good.
Sandy.
Good.
Retreat.
Great.
Compete. Pretty. Candy. Relax. Defeat.
Great.
Or defeat.
Okay. Cool. Now, so notice, George, point to the pile that has primarily open syllable E's. Good. Point to the pile that has tails. Good. Point to the one that uses the silent E. Good. And point to the pile that has the EA. Good. Great. Now, after the student does that, we then move into the step 4, where I'm on the board discussing the best and rest. Okay? Thank you, George.
You're welcome.
Long E discussion. The long E is the first vowel pattern that fits what I call the long vowel chart. And the long vowel chart has tens of thousands of words. It is, from my view, the most important spelling pattern that there is. And it's a very simple chart. We've learned at E that an open syllable, you just use an E. Now there's a lot of variations. There's EAs, there are EIs, there's EYs, there are IEs. And if the child has no direction in which to go, they will use any pattern. We're telling the child in an open syllable, just use an E. If there's a consonant sound after the E, like an athlete, add an E. There's a consonant sound after. Now keep in mind in spelling, you don't see the word. In spelling, if you don't know the word, you're going compete, 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 eat. Consonant sound, add an E. Spelling, if you don't know the word, you have to use your auditory to pull it up and then check it visually. So if there's a consonant sound after that long E, add an E, and N has a tail. Remember we talked about monkeys have upward tails, downward tails? All your long vowels have tails at the end. Now once we introduce this pattern of long E, for students that are in start 3s and 4s, I introduce the whole pattern just like I'm going to do to you right now. These are kids, again, start 3 and 4. Usually the child has had phonics, has been in programs, but just hasn't put it together. So for a student in start 3 and 4, I'll say, now that you know this pattern open syllable consonant sound. You add an E, end has a tail. Let me introduce you to the entire long vowel chart. A follows the same pattern as E. Open syllable, what are we using here, everybody? Just a A. If there's a consonant sound, we add an E, like 8, right? End has a tail. AY is your best bet. Okay? We already did E. I, open syllable, like the word final, just use an I. If there's a consonant sound after, if you're trying to spell the word 5, I, v, there's a consonant after, add an E. End has a tail like fly. Okay? O, open syllable, like the word open, rodent, just use an O. Consonant sound after it, if you're spelling the word rope, well, rope, well, there's a r-ope consonant after it, you have to add an E. N has an upward tail, such as the word mellow or snow. Okay? U, in an open syllable, we just use a U, like unit. Consonant sound, if you're spelling the word cube, cube, there's a consonant after it, add an E. And N has a tail like few. Notice we have our upward tails. Now, I initially exaggerate these tails with students as I teach them, so I will make the Y look like this. And I will make the W look like this to show a tail. Exaggeration. This pattern is called the long vowel chart. And if I work the long A chart, I just work on this pattern. We go to my dictionary, and this pattern's in the dictionary, and I will dictate words into these columns of the dictionary, and the student has to figure out where the word goes. So I'll dictate a word play, and he knows it goes here. I'll dictate a word came, it goes under this column. Or apron goes here. That would be the long A chart. Another day, I might look at the long O chart. And then I'll dictate a word rope, it goes under this column. Locate would go under this column. Blow goes under this column. So these are called the long vowel chart. Now, for starts 3 and 4, from now on, when I do the long vowels, I don't get into this presentation you just saw me do on long vowel. I go right to a chart and dictate words with them. And your notebook tells you to do that. Your notebook for the long vowels will say, for start 3 and 4, take out the long vowel chart and dictate words into it.
Concept 11, the R family. The R family all say the sound except for the 2 teenagers who have their own sound.
R. Or.
Concept 11, R family. Let me introduce you to the R family. They all say They're the R family. Say this with me, everyone. 2 of these family members are teenagers. The teenagers always want to do what the family does. Not always. No. They kind of want to do their own thing. That's part of being a teenager. This is a teenager, and some of you might already know the sound of that teenager because they're pretty vocal. What is that? R. This is a teenager, and she's pretty vocal. What's her sound? Or. So they have their own teenage sound. Now they do say on occasions. They'll do that family sound when they need to, but this is their prime sound, and that's the one we're going to use. Then I'm going to teach you when they do the family sound. So let's review these with me. What's this say? R, and or. Now, for spelling, when in doubt, tomorrow when I say you're going to point to this as your best bet. Okay? And these are the rest. That means this can say at some point, which I will be teaching you. If I say R, that's your best bet. Or, that's your best bet. Okay? So as part of our spelling tomorrow, when I go you're going to go R, you're going to go R, or you're going to go or. Our family discussion. We start teaching the rest in general around 3 days later after we do the basic new concept. So about 3 days after I've done it, if the students have this, I might introduce some of the variations for the teenagers. Okay? One of the variations is after a W in words like work, worry, or worship, OR is your best bet for after a W. That's one of the first variations I teach. Then a little later I teach after a T in a profession like actor or doctor. OR is your best bet, conductor. And then AR says after an L like seller, spectacular. That's your best bet. After an L, AR is what you use for So these variations are taught not in the initial lesson. And for kids that are cognitively challenged, I don't worry about it. There's too much to remember. Remember, kids cognitively challenged, I primarily am getting them to work with the sounds and reading and spelling. So at this level, I want them to be able to spell words like garment and fork and fern. I want the basic sounds. I don't get into a lot of sequential rules. Okay? Rebel R's. Something happens to the R family when it's followed by an E. The silent E syllable dominates it. So this should be what, everyone? Car. But this E has its silent E effect. Remember that little magnetic effect? And it makes that have its long sound. What's that become? Care. So silent E cancels out the R family. Okay? This says what? Fire, not fur. And this says pure, not per. That silent E has the effect. So silent E's tend to cancel out the R family sound. Double R's do the same thing. Double R, that should be or, sorry, but because of the double R, the vowel tag dominates, making that a short sound, sorry. By the way, this long mark is called a macron in the dictionary. The short one's called a brev or breve. Okay? This is hurry, but because of the double R, it's hairy, makes it short. So double R's make the vowel short. This should be furry, right? But the double R makes it what? Fairy. So double R's tend to cancel out it and make it short. Also, if there's a vowel right after it for the same reason, when we vowel tag, it makes it short. It becomes short to era. This should be miracle, but because of the vowel after it, here you have the vowel A after it, makes it era. Here we have the vowel after it, makes it miracle. Here we have this vowel, and as the student tags that and he sees the vowel, that becomes clerical. So the rule is this: silent E makes it long. If there's a double R or a vowel right after it, it becomes short, called rebel R's. Tough concept, because the students used to just seeing that as an R or an or. So they have to reflect a bit. And what they'll have to do is do some changing, because when they go into the word sorry, they'll have to go, that doesn't make sense. Now fortunately, these are easily resolved by the meaning processor and the contextual. Remember the four processors: the sound, phonological, the orthographic, which are the letters, the vocabulary, which is meaning, and then the cognitive or contextual. When a kid reads, I am very sorry, he's going to know it's sorry. Or that was a miracle, he's going to know if he's paying attention. His upper level processor will help him. So he doesn't have to be as pure on this if he's paying attention using his upper processors. Okay.
Concept 12. Diphthong.
Concept 12, diphthongs. Diphthongs are two letters that take an unexpected sound, and it's neither long nor short. In other words, you're going to see that these sounds for these are unexpected, and those sounds are not going to be long sounds or short, totally unexpected sounds. Okay? All right, watch my mouth as I say aw, ooh, and Watch my mouth here. Aw, ooh, What geometric figure is my mouth making? Is it making a square, triangle, George?
Circle.
It's making a circle. That's right. So in aw, you're having a circle. Ooh is a smaller circle. Ooh is slightly larger than that ooh. Aw, ooh, circle sounds, okay? So we are making circle sounds in contrast to the vowels, which are making line sounds. That helps us when we get confused with is a circle versus which is a line. That helps us with aw, which is a circle, versus which is a line. It's kind of a pull. So these are our circles. With me, everyone? Aw, ooh, Notice that aw has two different spelling patterns. And notice that the double O signals two sounds. Oo and O. Okay? Now watch my mouth as I do this. Ow. With me? Ow. Now that starts as a what? A big
Circle.
moves to a small circle. So we call those movers. This moves from a big to smaller, and I have it above the circles here. Ow. Now watch my mouth when I do this. Oi. With me? Oi. Starts with a small circle and moves to a line. Oi. Okay, we've now finished what's called a Big Dipper. We are creating a vowel galaxy. A Big Dipper in the sky, a crescent moon, and the earth. The green grass above the earth and the yellow and red iron ore below. So we are developing a vowel galaxy. This is the Big Dipper. Let's recite the Big Dipper with me. I, Again. I, A, O, U, Ow, Oi. Let me give you a memory device to help remember these. A mom, when she rocks a baby, will often take her baby, she'll look down and what will she say? Aw. Now I want you to look down because to do this, you're thinking, aw is more in your chest. Ready? Aw. In contrast to O, which people confuse it, is a little higher up in the mouth. Ah. Remember, one of the ways we get ah is you go to the doctor, they have a light and say, open your mouth, go ah. Whereas A-U-A-W is aw. Everyone? Aw. What's the coolest car you've ever seen? What is the car?
Lamborghini.
Lamborghini. Ooh. Okay, everyone? Ooh. Did you ever get hit in the stomach? Oh. Ooh. Oh. Okay. Did you ever get pinched?
Ow.
Ow. Okay. Confused?
Oi.
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 Oi. Some of my female teachers don't like slapping themselves. They prefer this for oil. The only problem with that, there's a little key word in there, oil. But this will help kick the oi sound. I prefer oi. Okay. So let's review these with me. What is this? Aw. Okay. Ooh. Ow. Oi. So when a kid's struggling on ow, I just go for the pinch. Or here, these are really miraculous on how quickly kids pointing when they're stuck on the ooh. These kids, and I'll actually have kids when they recite it go, see, aw, ooh, ow, oi. They actually will do this memory device to remember it. Okay, we now have taught the Big Dipper. Very easy rule where this goes in the beginning, middle, or end. OI has a what on it? Tail. It's going to go at the end. When in doubt, that's at the end. OW has a what on it? Tail. It's going to go at the end when in doubt. AW has a tail. It's going to go at the end when in doubt. Okay? So you now know the Big Dipper and the crescent moon. Concept 12, discussion. So in the diphthongs, we are at this point introducing the Big Dipper clearly. They now can recite the Big Dipper. They can recite the crescent moon. We want the child to be able to recite this from memory. We want them to actually be able to see this. Kids that have severe reading problems, kids with dyslexia, often have incredible visual memories. So we want them to be able to see this and recite it from memory. So if you'll watch me, I'm kind of looking, I can actually see this when I can go aw, ooh, ow, oi. Then I go down on the long vowels, I, E, A, U, O. Then I go up on the crescent moon, ar, no, ar, or. I can see this. I don't have to memorize it. I want children to be able to do that Big Dipper and the crescent moon from memory. Then they'll later do the earth. Notice we're introducing tails at the end. Okay. We're also getting across that these are circles and these are lines, because a lot of kids have trouble with aw versus ah. Watch my mouth. Aw, ah. Ah pulls. It's a big, fat, thick line. It pulls. Aw is a circle. So if I'm spelling saw, aw, that's a circle. But if I'm spelling ah, it pulls. It's a thick line. Ah, it's a line. They'll also have trouble with between and Well, watch this. K, is a line. B, is a circle. So for spelling, if they're spelling book with a U, let's say that's a line sound. We want is a circle. So that's one way we differentiate. You want to really show a strong difference between this and this. And one way to do it, if kids have troubles, they look up for this and they look down for this aw. Okay? I had a gifted teacher, Sadie Manley, figure this out. Found that just having kids look up helped bring that sound up in the head. Aw down here. Key word to help kids with this is saw. That may help children if they just can't get it. Moon and book are key words here if they get confused. Okay? Sometimes book will help them. All right. We have to teach the learn technique, and learn is something that happens that for whatever reason OW and AW go in the middle in front of an L, ER, or N, such as the word prowl, P-R-O-W-L. Now that shouldn't be a W, but because of the L, it goes there. Okay? Or the word clown, C-L-O-W-N, or the word flower, or power, or tower. So for whatever reason, this tail, which should be at the end, goes in the middle in front of an L-E-R-N, and I call it the learn technique. I'll let kids know that's misspelled, but it's learn. AW is the same thing. It goes in front of an L like crawl. Okay? In front of an ER like drawer. And in front of an N like the word pawn. Okay? So that's called the learn technique, that AW and OW go before L, ER, and N. Okay? This L and N does strange things. You're going to find that when we teach long A, that AI, for whatever reason, is also going to be the best bet when it's in front of L or N. And we're going to learn that. So this L and N has an unusual effect on letters.